This video was made in honor of a supporter of this channel. Oh yes, they like these videos, they comment on these videos, and they asked for a deep dive and my take on the Beauty and the Beast mob scene, what led up to it and what happened because of it. Well, color me a genie in a bottle, because ask and you shall receive. Listen in with Lindsay. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Listen In with Lindsay. I'm your host Lindsay, an award-winning singer and voice actress who loves talking all things music, cartoons, TV, anime with you. If you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment to keep up to date with all of the fun. The man, the myth, the mob. Let's get into it. You miss the exact frame where Gaston breaks. There's a frame in this film that lasts less than 2 seconds, I think. In that frame, Gaston loses everything. Not the fight, not the girl, himself. Deep, right? Womp, womp, womp. Intense, right? Let's take a break and get a quick word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by me. My creativity, vision, and drive to create wonderful, glorious kids content for the next generation. My current project is a preschool sing-along starring a giraffe named Gigi who sings and plays with all of her colorful preschool pals. We have 13 fun kids songs available to download and stream. Guys, we even have fun vinyls and CDs. If you have a little one that needs some color and music in their life, then head on over to lrodco.com/gigibrand. That's lrodco.com/gigibrand. Enjoy! Okay, you've watched this movie for years. You remember the songs, the famous ballroom dance, the transformation scene, my favorite. But you probably didn't notice this psychological snap. Tonight, today, this morning, whenever you're watching, we're slowing this movie down in cycles. Every segment builds towards one question. Was Gaston always the villain, or did he become one the moment his ego couldn't survive reality? And when we reach the rooftop scene, you're going to see something you've never seen before. But first, we need to understand how Gaston built his identity in the first place. The village and the villagers essentially created Gaston. The song Gaston isn't comedy, it's conditioning. Watch how the townspeople reinforce him. They chant his name, they exaggerate his strength, they mythologize his masculinity. This is communal identity construction. Gaston doesn't build himself internally, he's built externally. And external identity has one fatal flaw. It collapses under rejection. Because if admiration defines you, what happens when someone doesn't admire you? That someone is Miss Belle. And she doesn't just fail to praise him, she ignores the script entirely. But before we examine Belle, notice something subtle about how the camera treats Gaston early on. Because the cinematography foreshadows everything. Well, I guess the animation cinematography, right? The camera knows he's fragile. In early scenes, Gaston is framed from low angles. He fills the space. He leans back casually. He is visually dominant. But during the proposal scene, the posture shifts. He invades Belle's space. He leans forward. He gestures. He becomes rigid. He doesn't ask, he declares. Belle isn't rejecting a romantic offer. She's rejecting inevitability, essentially. Gaston never imagined she had a choice, and that's the first crack. But cracks don't destroy identity. Humiliation does. And that's where the mirror comes in. Slow the film down here because this is the moment. The 2-second psychological injury. When Belle reveals the beast. You know, in the scene right before the mob scene where Gaston and the villagers want to take Belle's father away, Belle becomes desperate. She loves her father. She just got her freedom and her father back. So she shows the beast in the mirror, proving that Maurice, her father, was right all along. I mean, we know this, right? We saw this movie a bajillion times. When this happens, watch Gaston's face. There's shock. Then calculation, then something darker. Humiliation. The beast, as you know, beast is everything Gaston publicly mocks. Untamed, emotional, different, and Belle loves him. Not fears, not tolerates, loves. Psychologically, this is narcissistic injury, not clinical diagnosis, structural injury. His entire identity hierarchy collapses in one realization. She chooses someone who changed. He didn't. And that realization is unbearable. So what does ego do under unbearable pressure? It rewrites the story. And that rewrite brings fear. Projection in real time. Gaston pivots instantly. He stops being a romantic rival. He becomes a moral crusader. He's dangerous. He's a monster. Listen to the mob song carefully. He'll come stalking us at night. Projection. Who stalked Belle? Gaston. He's a threat to our children. Projection. Who refuses to accept no? Gaston. Projection is ego survival. If he can transfer his shame onto the beast, he doesn't have to feel it. And here's the terrifying part. The village absorbs it immediately. Why? Because fear is easier than nuance. But while the mob grows louder, inside the castle, something very, very, very different is happening. The beast has already changed. Inside the castle, the beast believes Belle is gone, and he doesn't retaliate. He doesn't rage. He grieves. The curse in Beauty and the Beast was never about fur. It was about possession. And in letting Belle go, he breaks the curse emotionally before it breaks physically. That's the irony. The beast is no longer monstrous. Gaston is becoming so. Well, more so, right? But the rooftop scene is where psychology becomes visible. And what you're about to notice changes everything about how you see this fight. This isn't coincidence, it's panic. Watch Gaston's movements. They're not calculated. They're frantic, shall we say, overextended lunges, aggressive overreach. He isn't fighting to win. He's fighting to erase humiliation. And when Belle returns, everything fractures. She says she loves the beast. The beast rises, and Gaston's identity disintegrates. Two truths collide. He wasn't chosen, and he isn't superior. That combination is lethal to ego, which brings us to the most revealing moment in the entire film, the mercy. Mercy was the final test. Pinned at the rooftop edge, Gaston begs. But notice the wording. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't express regret. He asks to live. The beast spares him. That act proves transformation. And then Gaston attacks again. Why? Because mercy implies equality, and equality destroys hierarchy. If he isn't dominant, he doesn't know who he is, so he lunges, and gravity answers. The fall isn't just physical, it's symbolic. Height represented pride, control, superiority, and it disappears instantly. But here's the deeper layer. This wasn't inevitable. He had multiple exit ramps, and he ignored every single one. The 3 moments he could have changed. Moment 1, Belle rejects him. He could have reflected. Moment 2, he sees the beast in the mirror. He could have reconsidered. Moment 3, he has shown mercy, and he could have walked away. 3 chances, count them, 1, 2, 3. 3 refusals, 1, 2, 3. Meanwhile, the beast takes 1 chance and transforms. That contrast is the entire thesis of this film. Well, I guess one of them, there's so much. One character evolves under rejection. The other escalates. And this is where the story stops being fantasy and starts being a warning. Because Gaston's collapse isn't rare, it's recognizable. Why this story still resonates 30-some years later. Gaston represents something timeless, the fear of being ordinary, the terror of losing status, the belief that admiration equals worth. When that structure collapses, people don't always grieve. Sometimes they rage. That's why the mob scene feels uncomfortably real. It isn't about a monster. It's about wounded pride finding volume. And the scariest part, Gaston never sees himself as the villain. He believes he's restoring order, and that's what makes the fall tragic. Not evil, tragic. The exact second he snaps. Go back to the mirror scene. Pause it. Slow it down. Watch his eyes. There. That flicker. That's the snap. That's the second admiration stops protecting him, and ego chooses escalation over humility. The beast was cursed by magic. Gaston was cursed by pride. Only one chose to change. And that is why he fell. Tragic, right? So preventable. What do you guys think? I hope this video was everything you hoped for. As always, let me know what you think in the comments, share with a friend, and subscribe if you have not already. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching again. Bye-bye.
Listen in with Lindsay.